New breed, global truth.
Many of America's farmers already feeling the pinch are worried about the possibility of more challenges. That's because President Trump is threatening to deport millions of undocumented immigrants, creating uncertainty about the future of the workforce.
It takes a lot of hands to hand harvest fruits and vegetables.
Talk to any farmer and they'll tell you it's difficult work.
Yeah. This is a 24-hour job. So I need people who are willing to work in shifts at different times of the day.
But it's hard to find those people.
Yeah.
American farms are on the decline. There was a 7% drop in farms from 2017 to 2022, according to the USDA. That's about 142,000 fewer farms in just 5 years.
142,000 fewer farms in the last 5 years. The food shortages are actually already here. What you see in the grocery stores is not food. What you have in the grocery stores is Monsanto seeds. You have genetically engineered food. And the fruits, the vegetables aren't real. They're replacing animal protein with Beyond Meat and soy product. Now, Trump is now sending all the people who actually run the farms. Yeah, in this mass deportation, the people who actually do the agriculture, they're being packed up and shipped off. Why? Because their job is done. Listen, I'm about to tell y'all something. They're purposely ruining farms. It's being done on purpose. Babylon is being imploded from the inside out. This is being done so they can create these 15-minute smart cities, so they can promote urban mobility, so they can have control on what the people eat. The farms are being sabotaged on purpose. We have seen in the last few years these people purposely setting a blaze to cattle. How many of you all by show of ones remember in 2023, between 2023 and 2024, hundreds and thousands of cows going into flames on farms? And they were blaming it on climate change. Let me explain to you all. It's being done on purpose. Yeah, at one farm, it was over 5,000 cows burnt. So don't think for a second that Trump or Elon Musk is worried about our farmland and trying to secure our agriculture. That's the last thing that they're worried about. Now, I've warned the people about this time and time again and what it's going to take. A lot of people don't want to plant their own gardens. I don't care where you at. You better start preparing. Unless you want to be in these 15-minute cities eating the flesh of a soybean, or eating vegetables that don't have no seeds, fruit that don't have no seeds. And you're going to see more people fall for lack of nutrition, right? This is what's happening. Now, because these things happen incrementally, people tend to negate what's happening because they don't see it happening all at once. But we're here now. We are here now.
These days, farmers are up against bird flu outbreaks, higher costs for...
Now they're talking about those bird flu outbreaks as well. Why out of all the damn birds in the world, only chicken getting a damn bird flu outbreak? Let me say this again. Out of all the birds, why only chickens? I can tell you why. Because there's a lack of farmers, and these chickens have to be in horrendous conditions, and there's a lot of germs being spread. They got the chickens jam-packed into these little kennel-like things, and they're all on top of each other. They're scratching each other. They're cutting each other. These chickens have open wounds, and they're not able to pump enough antibiotics throughout the meat to stop them from getting corroded and getting contaminated. That's why this is happening. Why? Because they don't have enough farmers. Why they don't have enough farmers? Because they're packing them up and shipping them out. This is what America do. They use people to build up their conglomerate, their corporation, and then when they're done with them, they send them on their way, right? That's modern day slavery. But where does that leave the American citizens? With food shortages. That leaves us with food shortages, and we already have food shortages. Make no mistake about it. You see less and less meat in the grocery store and more soy, more and more Beyond Meat. Let's go.
In just 5 years. These days, farmers are up against bird flu outbreaks, higher costs for feed and fertilizer, and climate change.
Climate change is when these damn direct energy weapons are hitting farmland. And they're telling you it's because the climate is changing. And really, it's just direct energy weapons taking out fields of crops. And so the farmers got to go against all of this, right? Let's continue.
But their livelihoods depend on a reliable workforce.
Now, these are government-ran farms. You know, these are farms that have to bow to the powers that be, and they're under their subjection. And so these farms are taking a major blow. And this is why we got to do things on our own merit. We got to get on our own lands and plant our own gardens. You know, these farms are under a certain law, meaning they can't plant, they have to use Monsanto seeds. Look it up. These farms are not able to produce the real deal. But you already know how we moving though. UP Farm's going to be producing the real deal. Seeds. The Bible says the medicine of the earth is the plants yielding seed, the fruit yielding seed. Not this stuff they got going on. Not these tactics not these government sanctions that they're under, where they have to mass produce some fruits and vegetables that are really unedible. You understand? Anyway, let's continue.
And now they're concerned about how President Trump's campaign promise to launch the largest deportation effort in American history will play out. About 2/3 of crop workers are foreign-born.
2/3 of them are foreign-born.
And while many come to the U.S. for seasonal jobs legally through H-2A visas, the USDA estimates that 42% of crop laborers are undocumented. New Jersey farmer Kurt Alstead says his workers are all legally authorized, but he's watching closely to see what Trump does next. When we talk about the ripple effects.
Now, notice he said all his workers are legally authorized. So he's good. If they're legally authorized, unless these tariffs and the new rules that go on the book change something, then he should be good. But nonetheless, I want y'all to keep in mind that the farms that we do got, they're mass producing fake food, fake fruits, fake vegetables. Don't get it twisted. The corn ain't real. None of this stuff is real. All right? Allegedly. Let's go.
Of a potential mass deportation. Labor is already hard enough to find as is. Could it be even more difficult to find across the board if that does happen?
Well, there's no question in the United States we have a shrinking workforce. Anything that happens from a policy standpoint that reduces people in our workforce is going to make it very difficult for industry, and certainly for agriculture. We would be in big trouble if we lost workforce.
The labor union, United Farm Workers, has already seen an uptick in migrants asking for help.
The threats are scary, but at the same time, farm workers more than anyone understand the reality that without them, this work is not going to get done.
And fewer workers could mean less homegrown produce, according to University of Montana economist Diane Charlton. But will consumers see higher prices if there are these mass deportations?
Maybe to a certain extent, consumers might not see a really big impact in the grocery stores.
That's because they're opening the laboratories. Dexter's lab is open. Bet your bottom dollar Elon got some stuff going on. Under this administration, you're going to see a lot more fake produce. They're going to be in these labs, and they're going to be genetically mutating tomatoes and lettuce and greens and collards and kale. All of that stuff going to be genetically engineered, bro. They're not worried about these people and our fresh fruit and fresh vegetables. They're not worried about none of that. I'm telling y'all right now, it's here.
But there will be less domestically grown fruits and vegetables.
Does that mean more farms could go belly up?
Definitely.
So there will be less farms, even less farms, more farms going belly up. Hey, I mean, look, I'm going to ask y'all this. This is a very serious question here. Do you all believe that this is somehow going to reverse what's happening in America? The Most High said if he was going to save Babylon, he would have done it already. Do we somehow believe that one day everything is just going to, kind of go back to normal and some president or some leader is going to guide the nation in the right direction and we're going to have everything on the up and up? Or is Babylon falling? And if Babylon is falling, shouldn't we be moving accordingly as God's chosen people? Shouldn't we be doing what's necessary to make sure that our children's children are straight? See, what we do today, ladies and gentlemen, makes a difference on tomorrow. And I don't mean literally today you got to do something and then tomorrow you're going to see the results. What I'm saying is the direction that you take in this day and age will benefit your grandchildren. This doesn't have to happen overnight. But when I talk about preparing, a lot of people don't get it. Just training your children up in the ways of agriculture, training your children up in the ways of our biblical people will affect their generation to come. It will run in the family. So you exposing them to certain things, you understanding the importance of building, because this can happen in the next 10 years where the smart cities are here. This can happen in the next 20 years where you got to have a chip implanted in you just to purchase food. But when I put these warnings out, these warnings are for those who are like-minded, who understand that the change starts today. I did a video. It was yesterday. And I said, we need to start building our ark. Somebody in my comment section came in and said, what if we can't afford to build our ark? This is what they said. My response is, can you afford to pay attention? Can you afford to pay attention to what's actually being said? Can you afford to change your mindset, your mind frame? Can you afford to hear me and what I say? Because the things I was saying in that video wasn't expensive, right? What I said was start networking with like-minded families. What I said was start getting non-perishable items. What I said was learn how to do certain trades, learn how to do certain skills. What I said was learn how to, spend some time outdoors, learn how to, actually network the right way. That costs you nothing. The change starts with you now. People have been sitting back. People have been sitting back relying on these people to coddle us. And nobody wants to be men. Nobody wants to be real men and real women these days because they're relying on a system to continue to feed us like we some damn babies. The government is like this. They got their little here. We're gonna package everything in a grocery store for you. Here you go, y'all. Nah. When are we gonna go out and do something on our own? So we say, look, something happened in this country. We got our own fruits and vegetables. We're not worried about it. We got our own trading system. We got our own thing going on. We ain't worried about it. I believe some people are happy being under. I believe some people are happy and satisfied with being in captivity. This is captivity. Let's go.
It's still unclear exactly how Trump's mass deportation plan would affect farm workers. We reached out to the Trump team, which reiterated the president's commitment.
I'm going to tell you it's going to affect farm workers abundantly. The farm work is going to be affected, regardless of what Trump say, regardless of what the office tell you. I'm warning you now that there's going to be less farms in the next 2 years. It was 140 something odd thousand less in the last 5, and in the next 5 it's going to be even more. Now you heard it here first. In the next 4 to 8 years there will be less farms, and the same people who speaking against getting prepared going to be doing the same thing, except they're going to be eating plastic pineapples, plastic oranges, and plastic apples. Right? This is how this is going to work. Let's go.
To deporting migrant criminals.
According to the Department of Agriculture,
He says that he's committed to getting rid of migrant criminals, right? So will the farm workers be straight? Will they be, if they're illegal, they're illegals, right? We're gonna see how that's gonna work, because what's gonna take place is ICE is gonna be out here on some freelance, free radical stuff. But we're gonna have to see. But let's go.
agriculture, more than 40% of the country's farm workers are undocumented. In tonight's In Depth, Camila Montoya Galvez traveled to a
And this country been knew that they were undocumented.
dairy farm in Wisconsin to report on the tension between cheap labor and the Trump administration's immigration crackdown.
Down this road in Wamandi, Wisconsin, population 500, lies John Rosno's farm. He's a fifth-generation farmer who owns more than 900 acres and more than 600 dairy cows.
It takes one person for every 40, 45 cows.
And who is doing all of this work?
I would say about 90% is done by immigrants.
Immigrants like Kevin, who was born in central Mexico and crossed the U.S. border illegally when he was 18. Now 21, Kevin is among the 11 million undocumented migrants living in the U.S. More than 10,000 of them work on Wisconsin dairy farms.
What kind of work do you do here on the farm? ¿Qué trabajo haces aquí en la granja?
Alimentar y también limpiar los corrales.
You feed the cows and you clean the barns too.
Kevin, who did not provide his last name during our interview, says he often works 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, sometimes starting as early as 3 a.m.
And see, this is the thing. Nobody else is doing this work. The man working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Real hard labor every single day. And we're talking about a mass deportation of all illegals. That's why I said at the beginning of this, Trump is better off creating a task force that just goes after the criminals. Now, he says that he's going to go after criminals in this situation. At least that's word from the White House. But I don't believe that. I believe that they're going to shut down more farms, and they can care less with how much that these people work, because their job is done. They got a whole nother direction that they're going. They have been outsourcing people, and people been losing jobs left and right. It just so happens that the major jobs in this country, it's been Spanish people doing it, or Mexicans or Latina people Latino people have been doing the major grunt work. But their job is up. Why? Because America is trying to implode. They don't want no more farmland. Why they need farmland when they got facilities and they got places they can make oranges out of thin air? They can 3D print this stuff now. It's more cost effective for them. It's less time consuming, and it gives them more control over the food. That's why you see those little stickers on them. Those little stickers on them. What are those things called? Man, it just slipped my mind. But there's stickers on a lot of the new fruits and vegetables showing that it's not real, right? Anyway, let's continue.
But the pay is better than back home.
Does your family depend on your salary here in the U.S.?
Mi mamá.
My mother and my siblings, of course. But since I have my dad.
That's it right there. Appeal. The appeal stickers. Let me put it up here so y'all can look this up right here. Look up this appeal thing. That's why you're seeing fruits and vegetables with codes. Why the hell would a fruit and vegetable have a patent code? It's a fruit, or it's supposed to grow out of the ground. It's supposed to grow out of the earth. This is what you're seeing. This is what you're going to see from here on out. That's beast. That's market of beast food, bro. Let's go.
Dad here, he also sends some money. Nationally, more than half the workers in the dairy industry are undocumented. Like Kevin, many leave behind loved ones for wages that are below what American workers get.
Some people would be saying that you could be right now hiring American workers to do this job, and that the only reason you're not doing that is because you can pay immigrants less. How would you respond to that?
If I hired Americans to do the work, I would have to pay probably about $100,000 a year per person, and they would only.
Each person would be paid $100,000 a year to do this. Hold on, let's hear this out.
To do the work, I would have to pay probably about $100,000 a year per person, and they would only work 40, 50 hours a week. I would be out of business within 6 months. I couldn't afford it.
So if it ain't for immigrants, bro, we would have none. We would have no fruits and vegetables at this point. If it wasn't for these illegal immigrants that everybody is speaking against, deport them all and all of that, you would not have fruits and vegetables. So cut it out. Cut it out. It should have never been a mass deportation because it costs millions atop of millions of dollars of our tax money to even send to even rally up that many people. And then number two, they're doing a grunt work that you're not going to do. Trump should have initially set up a task force that went after criminals. They know who the criminals are. They know who bringing this dope over here. This whole country built on blood money. Stop playing. We talking about a fentanyl crisis. Man, they making a fentanyl here in the damn hospital somewhere in the labs. We know who bringing the drug. Like, listen, come on now, man. If you believe that they're not, bringing drugs over, or they know who got it, that's crazy. Let me do this person a real favor. Let's get you out of here. Go on. Telling y'all, let's go.
If the price of milk was, or like a gallon of milk cost $10 in the store, then I could probably do that.
The new administration is already following through on its promise to deport the undocumented.
What would happen to your farm and to your business if they are all sent back to their home country?
If that would happen, I'm out of business, and it wouldn't take long.
Rosno fears the future. Kevin does not. 4 years ago, when he was president, he said, "I am going to deport everyone," but it never happened. Sometimes we would watch the news and we would see that a family was deported, and we were scared to go out and buy groceries. But I have not felt fear since then.
Damn. So he did see 4 years ago that some people did get deported. Some people did get deported, but he's not living in fear, basically. I mean, you can't live in fear. And he's saying that, hey, they were saying they was going to deport everybody in his last administration. Look, you can't possibly get everybody. It's going to take, hell, it would take trillions of dollars to do that. But I do believe that they're going to get certain people. And they're going to get certain people who are in these farms because they're going to purposely shut down some farms. Because American citizens are not going to work for that cheap. Listen, that kind of work, we working 40 hours tops. We want 100K. And guess what? We ain't going to work at the same volume. We're not finna do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to want vacation. We're going to want that 100K and we're going to want vacation time. And we're not doing that. Y'all going to have to hire more people. If we get overwhelmed, you're going to have to hire more people. You're going to have, listen, you're going to have to pay twice as much money and you're going to have twice as many employees. That's how that's going to go.
A fear he hopes he'll never feel again. Camilo Montoya Galvez, CBS News, Waumande, Wisconsin.
President Trump's policies in these early days of his second term are creating uncertainty across the country. Cuts he's making in foreign food aid could have a major impact in America's heartland, where much of the food is grown. Nicole Killian reports from Larned, Kansas.
Somebody said it makes us sound kind of weak. No, it's not weak. It's just that we're not slaves. We're not going to do slave labor. It's not weak. It's just that Americans are going to, and a lot of Americans are weak. I'm not saying they're not, but we're documented. We legal. So we're gonna work. We're gonna get paid to do such work. Be away from our families and work hard like that. Yep, somebody says insurance paid me off way more money than you were paying non-white people. I don't know what that's talking about, Sharon. Say we need real fruits and vegetables. We do. Let's go.
John Dryden's family has farmed in western Kansas for more than a century. He grows wheat, corn, soybeans, and sorghum, or milo.
We may switch to more corn, dry land acres, just knowing there's usually always a market for corn.
So you may grow corn instead of milo?
More corn than milo, yes.
Since USAID's Food for Peace program has been suspended, there is virtually no market for milo, according to Kim Barnes.
This is the milo that you're talking about.
This is the milo crop. They make flour out of it. It goes into pet food, ethanol. You eat it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. We should take pride in growing our own food. And this is what I'm trying to get people to see. You know, now is the time where we got to truly build. Now is the time where we got to start putting our resources together, putting our minds together, and creating something for ourselves. Because these major farms that are out here, a lot of them going to disperse. A lot of them going to end in the next 5 years. Just watch it. Y'all going to see me doing the same thing 2 years from now, showing y'all that boom, y'all, look how many more farms have been shut down. Straight up.
He's with the Pawnee County Co-op that purchases grain from farmers, including Dryden. Now, instead of selling it, he's storing it.
When you're sitting here on 1.7 million bushels of milo, you kind of like to see it move on to the next step, especially when we have people in the world that are hungry.
So while this program is paused, what are you doing?
Well, right now I'm turning over every rock I can find.
Until he finds buyers, he's worried the co-op and the community may take a loss.
The person downtown's not going to sell any furniture. The grocery stores are going to be affected. People just aren't going to buy.
But Dryden is still going to farm.
We're throwing punches all the time, basically. Drought, hailstorms, insects. This is just another punch.
How many more punches can you take?
I don't know.
I'm Skylar Henry in Fitzgerald, Georgia, where cuts in Washington to USAID are threatening this rural economy.
What's the cost of one box? One box is about $40.
Mark Moore is the CEO of the nonprofit Manna Nutrition, which makes a peanut paste to feed starving kids in war zones and famines.
If the system stops, it's to catch.
Hey, Keith, thank you for the support. Said, listen to this man. Let's change the world together. Baruch Yahuwah. Absolutely. Thank you for the support. And, that's what it's about. Like, it starts today. It starts with a change of mindset. It starts with, actually considering what the future looks like if we continue to be pacified in this American society. If men continue to be passive, if our people, the biblical people, God's chosen people, the Most High's people, keeps on playing church and playing religion without actually doing the work. There's too many churches out there. There's too many congregations out there that are not doing anything for the people. They're making all this money via tithes and offerings. None of them are buying up farmland. We had one pastor in Georgia who purchased some farmland, and the only thing he decided to do with it is try to get his congregation to plant weed plants. He wanted to do marijuana fields, but nobody wants to do crops. Nobody wants to do potatoes or corn or broccoli or none of that. And it's extremely negligent when you got churches that are making millions of dollars. It's crazy to me. And this is how I know that what we're doing is nothing but the truth, because it's going to come a time where only a remnant is left there's only a remnant left, and more than likely they're going to have to be in some type of tight-knit community where there is fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, where it's actually homegrown and things of that nature. I understand that that's the direction it has to go, because our people that got the finances and resources, they're not going to do it on a grand scale. We're not going to be living in a state where there's a mega pastor who just bought up a bunch of farmland to feed the people. We're not going to have that. And they won't do it. And as these places get shut down, it's going to get serious out here. And it already is serious. But let's go.
Catch back up. It'll cost not just time, but lives. Thousands, if not tens of thousands of lives.
What Moore makes is pretty simple. Take peanuts, blend it with milk, sugar, and vitamins. The result might not look like much, but he says it can work miracles. But not while the federal contract he has counted on for years is in limbo.
We're on, then we're off, then we're back on again.
He says he received a stop work order on January 29th, then told to resume 8 days later, then had his contracts canceled. And late Sunday, they were reinstated again. And with 130 employees, Manna is one of the top employers in Ben Hill County, 3 hours outside of Atlanta.
My first priority is my people.
Jason Holt is the mayor of Fitzgerald.
Manna is a 2- or 3-fold contributor to our economy. They purchase raw products, they employ people, and they serve a great humanitarian purpose.
What's your hope?
I hope they continue to grow.
For Mayor Holt, keeping the economy healthy here is personal.
I have a graduating senior coming up. He has a path.
So you get their peanuts from right here in Georgia. All of those farmers would have to find alternative places to send their products.
So, a major farming industry is in Georgia, and trade of peanuts, and they're having to figure things out. And so, I just wanted to really build on this and explain to you all how this is real. And, we do have unlimited potential, Speaker Yahweh. And this is what I'm dealing with right now. Y'all see me doing a lot of traveling. You're going to see me doing a lot of traveling because I'm piecing some things together. I'm getting some things prepared. Right now, I'm in South Kakalaki. Y'all can see the palm trees. Y'all see the palm trees, you know what I'm saying? And I'm handling some business, networking with some brethren out here, I got peoples out here. I got some like-minded individuals out here who are into farming. Um, they're into agriculture, and networking with them, as well as doing some things on the land, getting some things complete for you, the people, and making this thing work. And I'm gonna keep doing the work. And and I do appreciate any contributions, man, via Cash App, because I'm on the road, I'm making these moves, and I'm trying to get this community prepared for you, the people, to come down. And that's what it's about. So, I know a lot of people, they ask for support on social media. The support I'm asking for is just simply to help me with my endeavors and my travels doing the work that I do. So my Cash App is New Breed Global Truth 77. Um, you know, if y'all find it in y'all to support my initiative, feel free. You know what I'm saying? Support what I'm doing, because they really don't like what I'm doing. And that's why a lot of times they're shadow banning my material. They're not letting people get notified. And the reason behind that is because they can see that I'm really doing something real that the people need. So it's up to you all to support what I'm doing. I didn't put up no GoFundMe behind this. All I ask is the support in a way you can. Charity covers the multitude of sins, and UP Farms is your interest. That's something that y'all want to see come to fruition, especially you people who plan on having an emergency plan in case something happens. Or you all who just want to have a timeshare out there, who want to have a nice vacation spot where you could be among like-minded people. Nonetheless, support what is supporting you. All right. So I want to thank each and every one of y'all, man. Y'all be blessed out there. I got more material coming. I got some work to do. And look, I want to thank y'all. Y'all be blessed. Shalom. Peace.